While many of us daydream in the barber's chair, Manny Zavolis went one step further and bought the restaurant next door on a whim as he got his regular trim. Naming it Kati Allo, meaning something else, Manny was excited to become a chef at his own authentic Greek restaurant in Queens, New York. His wife, Christine, thought his crazy dream was a nightmare from day one. Manny's spontaneous business venture was initially a success and was a family affair, with the couple's children working alongside them. But when the kids started to move on, the couple were left to run the restaurant together, and that's when the bickering began. Christine believes her husband is to blame for the restaurant's change in fortune, while he is sick of her nagging.
Because I'm popular, she feels jealous.
And while Manny is quick to point out Christine's faults, she feels that he doesn't notice the mistakes he makes himself. Instead, he is sure that he's running the business perfectly, and seems to ignore the declining food standards.
That's just grease. There's more grease in this plate than there is in the Greek Isles.
The endless arguing is affecting customers who don't find the raised voices a relaxing background for their night out. And it's even worse for their daughter Evelyn, who helps as a waitress at the weekends, but can't take any more of the terrible atmosphere.
You're yelling again.
Who?
Everyone.
Things have got so bad that Christine has drawn up divorce papers. But her priority is to fix the restaurant, and she is hopeful that Chef Ramsay can help. Excited to sample some traditional Greek food, Gordon enters the restaurant and receives a warm, Mediterranean welcome from both husband and wife. They sit down to chat and tell Gordon that they have been married for 35 years. Manny explains that he decided to buy the restaurant while having a haircut, without consulting his wife. Christine thought the idea was crazy from the very beginning because they had no experience running a restaurant. And for the past 14 years, she has felt trapped working all hours in a business she never wanted. Manny says she's exaggerating. The couple share that the business was successful when it first opened in 2000, but the last 3 or 4 years have been tough. And the last year in particular has been bad, with daily fights between them. While Christine works longer hours, Manny insists he should be in charge. The discussion turns into an argument in front of the concerned celebrity chef. Manny suggests he could leave the business, and Christine responds that she should be able to leave too. They clearly can't agree on anything. Admitting that the restaurant has destroyed their relationship, Manny tells Gordon that Christine filed for divorce, but they never signed the papers. Even so, their marriage is a mess. To add to the pressure on the couple, they have just sold their home of 20 years to save the business. Once again, it was Manny's idea, and Christine is devastated that she's losing the house she loves to save a business she never wanted, and has grown to hate.
He does get away with murder.
Christina is exaggerating a lot.
It's time to sample the food. Server Irene takes Gordon's order and leaves him waiting in the dull and depressing dining room. The first dish is the Euro platter, which Irene admits is brought in frozen. Gordon is embarrassed for them, as the Euro is the hallmark of a good Greek restaurant, and Manny's is terrible. Not a good start. Next is the traditional Lukaniko Greek sausage, which Manny serves on a special plate for Gordon, to make sure it looks nice. It doesn't. The sausage is fried, then sautéed, and is horribly bland.
When you fry sausage like that, the flavor's gone. It looks like the remainder of a dog chew.
He tells Irene that the sausage smells of fryer fat and looks a complete mess. And worse, it's horribly greasy. He asks Irene to taste the sausage, which causes her to have a coughing fit. Manny gets back to microwaving a portion of pasticcio for Chef Ramsay. Oh dear, that never goes down well.
Let's make it good this time.
Labeling it a bland pile of worms, he asks Irene if the dish is popular. She can't answer and takes the plate back into the kitchen, where an argument breaks out again. It's time for Chef Ramsay to share his thoughts. Gordon asks Manny if he cooked any of the food that was served. He admits he prepared the dishes and defends his frozen, processed food. Christine tells Ramsay that until a year ago, the food was fresh, and she has no idea why that changed. Manny disagrees with her, saying it's an old recipe. Gordon is concerned that there's little love remaining in the couple's marriage, and there's no love at all in Manny's food. Chef Ramsay heads out to speak to the couple's daughter, Evelyn, who works as a waitress on Saturday nights. She is sick of being a referee between her parents, who fail to have one voice within the business. She feels that the pressure of working 15 hours a day has made her father check out, and her mom doesn't trust Manny anymore. The situation has taken a toll on their daughter, who tearfully asks Gordon to help them communicate better. He promises to support her during service that night. Gordon arrives at the restaurant, and the dining room is busy. He observes the line and asks Manny why he's cutting into the chicken pieces. Apparently, he can't tell whether the meat is cooked unless he checks it. When it's sent out to the customers, it's dry, as predicted by Chef Ramsay. Gordon spots a piping hot dish being removed from a small elevator in the wall. One of the line cooks explains that there's a woman in the basement heating food in the microwave. Chef Ramsay heads down there to check it out. Alongside the microwave is a food storage area, and it's disgusting. Cooked meat is kept alongside raw meat, vegetables are rotting, and there's a jar of fake caviar that is way past its best. He calls the family down to the walk-in, pointing out that cooked gyro is being stored next to raw chicken. Manny seems unaware that he could be causing a health issue, making him smell a tub of rotting food and examine the 8-year-old caviar. He calls Manny disgusting. Gordon walks away, and Manny quickly begins to make excuses. He is certain that the state of the walk-in isn't his fault, and instead blames the cheap workers hired by his wife.
How often are you in this fridge?
Every day. I have no idea that these things were existed in your refrigerator.
Evelyn is frustrated that Manny is blaming everyone but himself, despite him being the owner and chef. Manny feels that he doesn't have the time to check everything, and his daughter tells him to stop pointing fingers in the restaurant that he wanted to own.
Daddy, you have to take some responsibility here.
Heading outside, Gordon reiterates that Manny bears some of the responsibility for the restaurant's failure. He replies that it's not his cooking that's the problem, but Christine's recipes. Gordon speaks to Evelyn alone and tells her the only reason he's not walking away is because she's committed to the restaurant and he wants her to help. The next day, Gordon meets Evelyn and they head into the family home. Chef Ramsay tells the owners that before they can start working on the restaurant, there is a bigger problem that must be dealt with. Supported by Gordon, Evelyn tells her parents that she can't watch them fighting any longer and needs them to work together without putting her in the middle. Her emotional plea clearly affects both her parents, who agree to try to come together for the sake of their family. They seem determined to wipe the slate clean and start again. Back at the restaurant, Gordon asks the couple to cook together, showing them how to create a delicious, fresh sea bass dish. They prepare and eat the fish together without a raised voice for the first time in a long time. That night, Gordon's team move in to give the restaurant a fresh, new look. The family arrives in bright sunshine, and Christine screams before she's even fully through the door. The owners are visibly moved by the huge transformation, and even Gordon looks emotional. The dull and drab interior is gone, and clean, bright colors bring Greek taverna style to Flushing, New York. Vibrant blue shutters and hand-painted artwork decorate whitewashed brick walls, and reupholstered booths bring a Mediterranean feel to the seating areas. Reclaimed wood has been used to panel the bar wall, and the new plates and silverware give a more contemporary look. Christine is happier than she has been in years, and she can't stop crying. The couple are reinvigorated and excited to see the new menu. Calling it a dream come true, the team samples the fresh and vibrant new recipes, which include traditional Greek gyros and kebabs. Manny has fallen in love with the restaurant again and can't wait to get back to work. It's relaunch night, and Chef Ramsay has asked Evelyn to join her father in the kitchen. Food starts leaving the kitchen quickly, and diners love the new recipes. But 45 minutes into service, Manny is overwhelmed and tables are being missed. Evelyn attempts to take control and calm her father down, but once again he starts blaming others for the problems and goes outside to take a break. After some deep breaths, he returns to the kitchen but tells Gordon that everything is a disaster. Chef Ramsay gives him a quick pep talk, and the kitchen gets back on track. When service is over, Gordon tells the family that they need to love each other and keep lines of communication open. And if they do, they could be married for another 35 years. As he leaves, Chef Ramsay admits he's found this kitchen nightmare one of the hardest ever to fix, because it wasn't just a broken restaurant, but a broken marriage too. But he's hopeful that both are back on course. Over the following weeks, Manny and Christine are happier than they have ever been in years, and the restaurant is busier too. In fact, business is so good that Evelyn has decided to work full-time in the kitchen with her father. The entire family is grateful for the chef's help and advice, and feels positive about the future. Gordon's visit to Kati Allo was one of the least popular episodes of Kitchen Nightmares, with a 6.6 rating on IMDb. Viewers found the episode boring and felt the focus was on marriage counseling rather than a restaurant revamp. In fact, many compared it to an episode of Dr. Phil. It's not the first time that Gordon has been compared to the celebrity psychologist, but in this episode, he really needed to focus on the relationships, not the restaurant. And viewers were very clear about who they thought was at fault. Manny is regularly mentioned as one of the worst husbands ever seen on Kitchen Nightmares. His behavior towards his wife was seen as arrogant and disrespectful, and his selfish purchase of a business that Christine never wanted is seen as evidence of his self-obsession. Fans questioned whether he cared about his wife at all, and were hugely sympathetic to the situation she found herself having to deal with. Instead of hoping for a reconciliation between the couple, most viewers hoped they had gone their separate ways when filming finished. Manny's dismissive attitude towards his wife seemed worse when shown alongside his obvious adoration of Evelyn. Even when his daughter was calling out his refusal to accept responsibility, Manny spoke to her with a kindness that we didn't see him show his wife of 35 years. Evelyn was a favorite with viewers, who admired her ability to stay calm while her family was fighting around her. A common view was that she was clearly a very capable and well-centered woman, and should probably be running the restaurant herself. So it was good to see her committing to working at the restaurant full-time at the end of the episode. The episode was filmed in July 2013, 12 years after the restaurant first opened its doors. Kati Allo received good press coverage when it first opened, and in the first few years that followed. Reviewers liked the quaint surroundings and reasonably priced home-cooked Greek food. Despite there being a number of Greek restaurants in the area, Kati Allo was well received and continued to keep customers relatively happy. Local coverage up to 2010 was all positive, with food apparently still being served fresh, home-cooked and delicious, including the gyros. So it seems there was some truth to Christine's claim that her husband's standards had only dropped in the year prior to Gordon's visit. When the news broke that Kitchen Nightmares was visiting the restaurant, regular customers suggested it could be the atmosphere and waitstaff at the restaurant causing any problems. Interestingly, there were no mentions of any problems with the food. Kati Allo was rated just 2.6 out of 5 on Yelp, which obviously isn't good. But there's a definite theme among the 1- and 2-star reviews. Christine and Manny had taken part in a Groupon promotion before Chef Ramsay's visit and seemed to have a lot of problems with the coupons. That's a shame because prior to the Groupon issue, they had some great reviews. And the reviews of the food got even better after Gordon's visit, though some regulars were disappointed with the reduced menu. So, with the positive changes made, is the restaurant still open today? Sadly not. It is now a restaurant called Kalamata, which opened in 2014. Yes, Kati Allo closed just months after Gordon's visit, and days after the episode aired in April 2014. It apparently closed temporarily for a renovation to take place, which seemed a little odd as Gordon's team had only just completed their renovation, which we are 100% sure that Christine loved, based on her reaction. It went down as one of the best ever, according to fans. The restaurant that took over the space also serves authentic Greek food and gets great reviews. The menu is full of traditional dishes, which appear to be fresh and appetizing. The only complaints tend to be around the renovation that took place after Gordon's makeover, and that's because the chairs are uncomfortable and need cushions. The menu looks so familiar that some customers thought Christine and Manny must be behind Kalamata. But that's not the case. The restaurant has entirely new owners and managers. So what happened to the family behind Kati Allo when the cameras stopped filming? Let's start with Evelyn. At the end of the episode, we heard she would soon be working at the restaurant full-time. Well, that didn't seem to happen. In 2014, Evelyn was working at MediaVest, a small media communications consultancy, and she stayed there until 2015. She then spent 7 years working in global financial operations for Carrot Media and Marketing, before taking a role as executive director at JP Morgan Chase in New York. She appears to be happy, healthy, and settled, and we wish her luck for the future. And what about Christine and Manny, the warring couple who seem to move from the brink of divorce to a more harmonious relationship, with a little help from Gordon? Well, it appears they managed to overcome their difficulties once the restaurant was out of the mix. They are still very much together and living in New York. It's great to see that the family survived their kitchen nightmare and came out of the other side stronger than ever, and still getting together over authentic Greek food. We wish them all health and happiness for the future.